Well, I'm going to try a new melon today. I'm going to cut it up, taste it, take some seeds out, start the seed process. So we're going to go from seed to seedling. This is the Galia melon. It is a cross between a honeydew and a cantaloupe. And you can definitely tell the difference. I asked my son to pick me up an inexpensive melon. I wanted a little special treat for my worms. Now, I've made a video on how to set up a worm bed if you want to watch that. It's kind of neat. Anyway, worms love melons. And I thought, well, I'll give them a little special treat. And he brought this home. Now, as soon as he brought it in the house, I knew it was different. It does not smell like a cantaloupe or a honeydew. It has its own unique fragrance or odor. And it's kind of strong. So I got to looking on the package, and it was in one of these little netting packages. And this is a Galia F1 hybrid. F1 means first generation. This melon is the first generation. The seeds from the melon will be the next generation when they grow out. Now, not all hybrids produce seeds. Some of them are sterile, and not all seeds from hybrids will go ahead and produce fruit for you. And chances are they won't come true to seed, but they can. It's a little confusing. They can be very similar to the parent plant, or they can go back and pick up the genetics from one or other of the plant. Or they can be something brand new. Lots of fun. All right. First, these are heavy, rounded, netted melons. Let's see how much this one weighs. This weighs 2 pounds, 14.6 ounces. So little over an ounce shy of 3 pounds. That's a nice size melon. I have to admit though, I'm not really fond of some melons. I love a good ripe cantaloupe. I love a good ripe honeydew or a good ripe watermelon. But they have to be at that really special ripeness. With this particular melon, you don't necessarily go by the smell or if it's soft, and this is soft. What you do is you go by the color. So as soon as the melon turns from green to this gold or yellow, it's ready. If you let it go too long, it will start having that little fermented alcohol smell to it, which means it's overripe. And from what I've read, it gets ripe really fast. So we just got this last night. And I have to tell you, when I came out of the back part of the house into the kitchen area, everything smelt like this melon. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but it definitely has its own flavor. So I just have a big knife. Knives are sharp, folks, and they will cut you. That's my disclaimer. Well, this one's not particularly sharp, but a little juicy. Juice is coming out. Nice melon. Smells better now. Smells more like honeydew now. But look at that. That's kind of pretty. Nice. Lots of flesh. If you had a melon baller, you could do the melon balls, anything like that. So I'm going to, can't wait, I'm going to try it. Just a little bit, so I don't have to talk with my mouth full. It has the same consistency as a honeydew. It is quite good. A little sweeter than honeydew, but very, very good. Okay. So, half of this is going to my worms. Lucky worms, right? I have a little bowl here for strainer. So I'm just going to scoop out the seeds with the goo. Very juicy. And this may be a little too ripe, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to go and slice it. You could keep a half of it, scoop it out, make a bowl for your fruit. You could take a half and do that. You can peel it first if you want. It does smell really, really good. And the name Galia was named after the daughter of the botanist that created this hybrid. So that was kind of interesting. And they say you can leave it on your counter a little bit, but since it does get ripe really, really fast, it actually is better to go ahead and put it in your refrigerator. And I like cold melon, so that's fine with me. And you can cut it up any way you want to. I'm going to have to ask Santa for some sharp knives. So, I can cut this down a little bit farther. If I'm juicing it, I can scrape the juice out. I'll give it to my worms. If you don't have worms, you can put the skins outside in your compost pile. If you don't have a compost pile, you can just put them outside for your animals. So, there's never any need to waste anything. Good. Really good. Oh my gosh, that is really good. So, like I said, do anything you wish. You can go ahead and peel it. I looked up some of the nutritional value. It's very high in potassium. It has vitamin E's, vitamin C's, lots of antioxidants. It's very good for your health and nutrition. You might want to do a little lookup on the medicinal properties. And of course you would prepare it, eat it any way that you do a melon. This is in the cucurbit family. That same big family that has melons and loofahs and pumpkins and squashes and all that good stuff. So that's how easy it is. It does taste really, really good. Okay. I'm going to start getting the seeds ready to go ahead and plant them. So I'm going to take this over to my sink, wash this out in the strainer. All the goo will come out. And I'll be right back. Well, I put the seeds under the water faucet and I washed all the goo off. Now if you're outside, you can just use a spray nozzle on your water hose. I'm going to plant these fresh. If you were going to store them, they would need to be cleaned a little bit more and then completely dried before you store them. But since I am planting them fresh, if I left a little bit of the goo on it, I'm not going to worry. My grandmother, she used to take any of her fruit like this, papayas, figs, any type of melons, and she'd just go out, throw a handful down, bury them in a hole. That's it. She didn't clean them out. When they came up, she would thin out the little seedlings, leave the strongest ones, and get rid of the other ones. But, so that's how easy it is. So if you want to save them, you can use a paper towel or a dishcloth, anything, an old t-shirt. And if you just lightly rub them, that gets the rest of the goo off for you. And it dries up some for you. If I were going to save these, and I might save half of them, I would put them on a paper plate and let them finish drying, because they scrape off the paper plate much easier than they scrape off a paper towel or a piece of parchment paper, piece of wax paper, something like that. So yeah, I'm not going to plant all these because this is a lots of seeds, and as much as I like that melon, I don't need hundreds of plants. Now, this is a really good thing to do because it's a sustainable crop. I've saved the seeds. I'm going to replant them. If they do okay, if the melons are good, I can save the seeds, do it again. Plus, I'm going to be providing food for my vermicompost beds, which gives me a great compost to be able to grow better food. So it's like this circle of life. Well, this is the circle of plants in nature. So these are ready just to dry and store, or to take them outside and plant them. Make sure you label your bag when you put them up. New seeds like this, even though I let them lay out and dry for a week or so, I still like to put them in a little paper bag first. That makes sure they're completely dry. If you put wet seeds up and you seal wet seeds, you can get mold. If you get mold on one or two of your seeds, it can ruin your whole batch of seeds. All in all, this is a great melon. I would certainly buy it again. So, me telling my son, just go find the inexpensive melon you can find because I want to give it to the worms, turned out really, really good. Great tasting melon. Lots of really pretty healthy seeds. Hopefully, when these grow up and if they produce fruit, they'll be great. Neat. I'll see you outside. Get a little soil now. I just put it in this little container. There's loads of drainage holes down on the bottom. This is just all-purpose potting mix, and I have wet it very, very well. Now, you can put your seeds in the little individual cells. You can put them in a 6-pack, a 8-pack, 12-pack, little 4-inch pots, reusable, recyclable drinking cups, whatever you want to do. I like these little containers. Since we're still having some cool nights, down in the 40s, low 50s, this is going to go into my hothouse, and it's a lot easier to take care of one container than it is lots of little ones. Now, since these are fresh seeds, all I'm going to do is just drop them in. And melon seeds hold their viability a very long time. You don't have to worry about them getting old. I mean, they'll last for years. So if you're saving some of the seeds and you've let them dry completely out before you put them up, later on when you decide to plant some, you can soak them a little bit. I didn't soak these because they are fresh. They're still moist. They haven't dried out completely. So I didn't soak them. But if you're using from a dried seed, you might soak them a little bit. But usually melon seeds germinate extremely easy. And I have a few more, so actually I'm just going to scatter them in, which I could have done in the beginning. Now, I can take something and go through and push the little seeds down, or I can come back and scatter some dirt on top. They don't need to be planted really deep since they are kind of a small, slim seed. You just want to make sure they get covered. And then what I can do is later on when they start germinating, I can thin them out and just save the biggest, the healthiest looking seedling. But that's how easy it is to plant a melon seed. Same way, no matter what melon you plant. This is the Galia. Sorry. That's it. I don't even have to water them right now because this was soaking wet. The seeds were fresh. I am very lightly going over them. I want good seed to soil contact. I have my label made. They're ready to go in the hothouse. That's it. Check on them in just a little bit. The seeds from the melon germinated really well. Very nice germination rate. And it didn't take long, a couple of weeks. And for winter time, that's pretty good, although they were in my little hoop house. But I will show this. The melon that I put into my worm bed that still had some seeds in it, those seeds were up in just a couple of days. Yes, they were really leggy and tall and not lots of green foliage. But I could have taken some of the large ones out and saved them. But since I already had some growing, I didn't need to plant any more. I'm going to transplant some of these now into a larger 18-ounce recyclable cup. You can use your fingers, a spoon, a spatula, whatever is comfortable for you. And just go down in underneath. Let's look at the root system on one. Nice little root system. I may go ahead and save some of these to plant out directly into the ground. I'm in 9B. We are coming out of winter. I mean, we're 84 today and it's February 28th, I believe. So I think we've gone through our major cold. What you really need to watch for is those nighttime temperatures. So I think we'll be fine. Our nighttime temperatures now are in the high 50s, 60s. And even if we get a little cold spell, I think they'll still be okay. And in this little container, they are getting leggy. Because they were in the hothouse, they were trying to follow the sun around. Now I'm going to plant them out in the little cups, save some for in the yard if I decide to do that. And that way I can put them out in more full sun and they'll straighten up. I did wet the potting mix, and this is just all-purpose potting soil. And I am going to plant it just a little bit deeper so that I am past the curve on the stem. Like that. But it was one delicious melon. And actually, the last time we went to our local grocery store, we couldn't find them. Galia melon. Wow, how neat. So I have 18-ounce containers of the melon. I'm going to put them in a little flat, and again, put them in a better lit environment out of the hothouse. Fantastic. I expect these to just double in no time at all. And then I'll have to decide what I'm going to do with them. You can grow melons in big containers. And I have grown melons and pumpkins and squash, all type of the cucurbit family in containers. And you can grow them on the ground and let them sprawl, or you can grow them up, support trellises and fences. All right, that's it. Give them just another little drink of water. That will clean up some of the soil. Let them drain very well. And they can just sit here a few minutes and relax. I hope you've enjoyed learning about this wonderful new melon. It's one of my favorites. I'll talk to you later. Have a fantastic day.